Hello everybody and welcome to the Punchboard Report. My name is Blake Ryder. Today, we're looking at Rome. This was designed by Ryan Laukat, and as is typical with his games, that means he did the art and the publishing as well through his publishing company, Red Raven Games. Now, this is an area control game where players are going to have cards, and these cards are going to have diagrams of token configurations. And by playing a card, you're going to be allowed to place tokens out on the central play area, which is also comprised of cards. And when you place these tokens based on the card you play, you are trying to, in essence, get as many tokens as possible on these cards on the table. When a card is filled up, whoever has the most tokens on it will claim it, which will give them points, and it'll also give that player the ability to place tokens down in future rounds in these different configurations based on the card you claim. So, tell you what, let's get this set up on the table, and we'll be back after that for some thoughts. All right, so this is Rome, and we're set up for 3 players, and players are going to get a hand of starting cards. Everyone's hand is the same, even though they might look different from an art perspective. And players are going to lay their cards out around the central play area, right in the center. And players are just going to lay their cards out like this. We're also going to have a supply of coins, and players are going to start with a couple of coins based on where they are in turn order. You have a draw deck, as well as you have these artifact tiles, which are special abilities that you can acquire during the game. Just note that in the rules, these are what's called the full game. They also have a variant where you can remove those if you want a bit of a simpler experience. So, what's happening in this game? It's pretty simple. On your turn, you're going to pick one of these explorers, and at the start of the game, they're all going to be face up. And you'll take one of these explorers, and you'll notice that they have these configurations of these chips on the bottom. And you'll pick one of them, and then you will make this configuration on the board somewhere. So mine is like an L. So if I do that one, so I might go 1, 2, 3, just like that. I can span multiple cards. Then I'm going to flip this over to indicate that this card is now exhausted, and then I covered 3 coins, so I will get 3 coins from the supply. And that would be my turn. You'll also notice that some of these cards have these kind of dotted line spaces. Those are optional spaces that you have to pay for. So you can pay 2 coins. If I was using this card, I would put 1 down, and then I can pay 2 coins to place the other one down as well. Just know that this is all based on your perspective of the game. So theoretically, that exact same character, in this case Morv, if this player on the right side was doing it, they would have to orient it this way from their perspective. And then the next player would go. So we're going to keep doing that, and eventually there may come a time where one of these cards is completely filled up with these markers. When that happens, whoever has the most on that card will get that card. So in this case, yellow would get it. But if anyone had any coins on it, anyone that had coins on it that did not win the card will get 1 coin automatically. And it's always going to be 1 coin, not more if you have more markers on it as well. So yellow got this, and yellow is going to take this and place it character side up in front of them, and then they will replace with a new card. This is worth points at the end of the game, so this is going to be give me 3 points. Beyond that, it's now going to give me a new configuration to lay down markers. So in this situation, on my turn, I can kind of do this one, which to some extent is, so I guess it's like that. Then I would skip one optionally. If I want to pay, I could. And then I would do that. And then I would skip that one. And I would do that. So that's how I would recreate this one. And then I would flip it upside down. You always can use your characters that are face up. So in this situation now, I'd have 2 left. Once you get to a situation in the game when all your characters have been exhausted, then the start of your following turn, you'll flip them all over, and then you will repeat. You also have the option of doing what's called an early rest. So let's say it was my turn, and I used the Shardling, and then let's say I use this one as well, and now I'm at a point where I really, really want this one again. You can do what's called an early rest. So that costs money. What you do is you count however many cards are still face up, in this case 2. I could pay 2 coins, flip them all back over, and then I have my full gamut as well to then begin the process all over again. Earlier in the game, the early rests are not that expensive, but later in the game you might have 7 or 8 cards in front of you, and if you only use 2 of them and you still have 6 face up, it's going to cost you 6 coins to refresh your stack of explorers. Other than that, in the event that there's a tie, so let's hypothetically say this was how it went, and it was a tie between red and yellow. Let's say it was my turn and I was the one that placed that one down. I will now go into a kind of a bidding war with red, and I will state however much I'm willing to pay for that card. So I may say $2. 2 coins, and then this player has the option to exceed that or essentially pass, and then I would then win that card. Note that money in this game is open, and it's a one bid auction. So I make my bid. They have one opportunity to exceed it or not or pass. Theoretically, if it was a three-way tie, like it was 2, 2, and 2, then I would make my bid. They could bid or pass, and then blue would make their bid or bid and pass, and whoever has the high bid is the winner of that. But like I said, money is open information, so if it's just me and red and I have coins, but I know red has no coins, I could say I bid 0, knowing that red cannot exceed me, and then I would win that card. Only other thing you got to know are these artifact tiles. So on your turn, you have an optional action where you could buy one of these if you want to. You don't have to. But these will cost money. So let's say this one costs 5. It'll give you points at the end of the game, so that's worth 2 points. And they give you a special ability that you can use. In this situation, it allows you to use one of these dotted spaces, which normally costs $2 to put down. It allows you to use that one for free. These functionally work very similar to these. I will put it face up next to me when I buy it. And then when I use it on my turn, and I can use it whenever I want, I would flip it over. And then when I refresh my explorers, either via an early rest or by just using them all and naturally flipping them, I will flip it back over and then have the ability to use that again. And then this would get replaced, of course. And there's a bunch of different abilities. This one, for example, this one allows you to remove another another marker from the board. This one allows you to physically move another marker on the board. So there's a bunch of different abilities as well. So you're going to keep going until one player has 10 cards, and that'll trigger the end of the game. You finish that round, and whoever has the most points is the winner. One other thing, there's this little variant that comes with the game. It's called the Outpost variant. You can use it or elect not to. Basically, what you're going to do is that this card will be in play, and the first player in the game to achieve this, and then this means you have to achieve completely surrounding an opponent marker like that, and the first player to do that, if someone does that, will get this, and that'll be worth 3 points. That is an optional variant that you can choose to play with or not. Before we go back up top, I just want to show you guys this. This is an expansion for the game. This does not come with the base game, but I'm sure if it interested you with enough persistence, you can probably find it. This is called the Gem Maps expansion. Every player gets one of these boards, and whenever you claim one of these cards, in this case I claimed this one, you will then recreate this pattern on this board however you want. So I have 2, and then I skip 2, and then I have a 1. So in this situation, I might go so 2, then skip 2, and then a 1. And then I also have the option, much like in the game, I can pay coins to fill in those dotted line ones. So theoretically, I can do that as well. And at the end of the game, you do that every single time you claim a card, and at the end of the game, you get points as well based on any of the gems that you cover. So you get 7 points if you cover that big red one, or 4 points for each blue one, and so on. Okay, so that was Rome. Let's talk about it. First and foremost, let's talk about the art. If you're a fan of Ryan Laukat's art from his other games, Above and Below, Near and Far, that general aesthetic that he has, this game delivers absolutely on that front. So if you like his art, it is definitely very classic Ryan Laukat art, and it really makes it pop as normal. Component-wise, there's not much here component-wise. It's cards, but the cards have his beautiful art on it. So in that regard, it is very, very solid. The game is also very solid. It's interesting. I played this game at all player counts, and it changes a lot when you're playing with 2 versus 4, for example. Now, when you're playing at 4, it is a classic area control game. Everyone is duking it out, trying to get tokens on the cards, trying to block out their opponents. It is very classic area control, and it's really area control in its purest form. You're literally playing a card to get tokens on the board to have majorities. It is an area control, area majority type of game. However, in 2 players, the game changes quite significantly, which was a shock to me when I played it for the first time at 2-player. It becomes much more of an efficiency game because you are trying to lay these cards out and do it as efficiently as possible, because at a certain point, it's going to probably be mathematically impossible for someone else to gain the majority once you have 5 tokens on a card. I mean, theoretically, if someone has one of those artifacts that will allow them to manipulate the cards, that could theoretically knock you down. But shy of that, at a certain point when you have 4 or 5, it's almost impossible, shy of, again, using the artifacts, to get a majority from somebody else that has that many tokens on the board. So then it becomes an efficiency puzzle, and less about area control and much more about how am I going to possibly use my cards to, as efficiently as possible, close this card out so I can get it, get the points, and continue the game accordingly. And hopefully while doing that, also, spray my chips on other cards to kind of lay foundations or groundwork for future turns. Because if you think about it, when it's very much impossible for you to to regain control of a card, you're not going to put any of your own chips on that card because you don't want to accelerate or make it easier for your opponent to get the cards. So again, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm just saying it changes the game, but still very enjoyable at 2. It just changes how you think about it and changes how you approach the game because it is all it's much more puzzly. 2-player, more of a puzzle game. 4-player and 3-player, to an extent, much more of a pure area control game. So it's pretty cool how you can play it differently depending on how many players are playing. That Gem Maps expansion, like I said, that's an expansion. You'd have to seek that out. But I really think that is a very cool component to the game because it gives you some direction sometimes in terms of which card you actually want to go for. Because naturally, you're going to want to go for cards that give you coins because the coins will give you artifacts and the coins will allow you to place on those dotted line spaces. But now, if I know a certain card will really go well in terms of the pattern I need for my gem map to get points that way, that will also give you direction. So I really think that is a very cool expansion to go with the game, but again, you have to seek it out. The Outpost variant is also very funky. It's cool, but it's challenging. It is, especially when you're playing with 3 or 4 players, it is very challenging. 2-player, a bit more possible when the board is a little more empty. But there's a couple of other variants in the game. There's also a variant in the game where you're allowed to place 2 chips in each square as opposed to 1. So there's a bunch of different ways you can play it. You can play it with and without the artifact cards as well. So a lot of different ways you can skin the cat with this game, and I like that. For a small box game, it definitely packs a good meaty punch. In terms of duration, not sure it says it on the box. I would say, 2 players is probably a half hour, 3 or 4 players, 40 to 45 minutes roughly. Doesn't overstay its welcome. The game ends after you have 10 cards down, and overall solid from start to finish. I like this one. If this sounded interesting to you, I recommend checking it out, and thanks for watching. My name is Blake Ryder.